Oh, hi. Yeah, just doing a little spring cleaning here. I'll put this aside. Alright, well, this is about the UltiMAK M1 Garand optic mount. That's our model M12. So your installation video. I'm going to pull this out of the package. Set it aside. This is a used mount, so it doesn't look quite as pretty as a brand new one, but pretty close. Let's not forget the instructions, very important. So we're going to start by disassembling the rifle. Obviously, you've gotten your ammunition away from the work area, you've unloaded it, and it's just regular takedown. I'm going to go ahead and run that forward for now. So you should be familiar with the way these take down. Trigger guard levers out like that, pulls trigger straight out. This one's a bit tight, so we kind of have to knock it off the action there. I'm going to set this aside. Alright, so the first thing you got to do, I should have left that lock back, shouldn't I? Is grab something to use for a punch. Now I've got a couple examples. This is a pin punch. This is a nail set. Just about anybody's got a few of these laying around, I would hope. A nail would work. Anything you can get in here and work the retaining lever for the handguard here. Just going to get in there, pull that out and down at the same time. Hold that down. Same over here. I'm holding the first one with my thumb so it doesn't snap back into the slot on the barrel. And there it is. 1, 2, and the handguard is off. Now you want to check right in here, and you want to make sure that this nose cap or barrel band, whatever you want to call it, is pinned to the barrel. Now, these rifles can be assembled without that pin in place, but we're going to use this cap here as a recoil lug for the optic mount so it doesn't fall off of this taper and move forward, you see. Anyhow, just make sure that's there. If it's not, you can get a roll pin at a hardware store that'll fit that, no problem. That's another good reason to have a pin punch or two laying around. If you're a gun owner, I mean, you kind of need pin punches, right? So the front of the mount is where the screw holes there are closest to the end. Well, you'll find out soon enough, because the machining here is designed to hug the barrel profile pretty closely. So anyhow, that sits right there, and we're going to unbag the clamps and the screws. We give you an extra screw in case you lose one or what have you. So the forward clamp, you'll see, is asymmetrical. So the part that has more material on the side of the screw holes, that goes forward, and it's that steel that's going to be resting against your barrel band, just so you know. Now, to get these clamps in here, you might be able to pull that out far enough to slip those clamps in there, but much easier would be to go ahead and remove the spring and push that follower in there and allow the action to come forward again now that we've got our handguard off. So we're just going to pull this sort of action rod here off of the follower and just pull the spring out, just like so. And there's another project for my spring cleaning. That will allow you to pull the there it is, pull the op rod out of the receiver slot there so that you can get your clamps in there much more easily. Okay, this one Again, this thicker portion goes straight forward toward that barrel band, and this one goes in there. These go into these pockets that are machined into the underside of the mount, and then you want to just go ahead and start a screw. I'm going to tip the rifle on its side somewhat. Just get one started in there. Very simple. Well, that's held in place. I'll get another screw started back here. There, now they're both held in place. I'm going to go ahead and reattach the op rod. Get that over the bolt. Get the op rod in its proper position there. That should be it. I think it is. There. Okay. If you have one of these rifles, you've done that part before a few times, I expect. We're going to seat this right over these two tabs on either side of that follower action lever, and we're back in business with the op rod and the spring. Okay, now we just have to install those other two screws. Pretty simple. Alright, now I'm going to check and see that my clamps are not canted too far right or left. I'm just going to just barely start to snug these up and try to equalize the position of the clamp. Rotate its rotational position right to left. And I'm going to turn this one out a little bit so I get a little more clamp coming down below the mount surface. Just doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to get them roughly equal. What I'm trying to avoid is having a clamp bottomed out hard up against the mount, the aluminum in there. If you're clamping something, you should always have a gap, okay? It's like a scope ring. You don't want your scope rings to be pulled all the way closed at both sides. You know what I'm saying? If not, you'll figure it out. Okay, those are starting to snug up, all four screws. And now I can still rotate the mount with some effort, but it's going to pretty well stay where I put it. Alright, I put it there, it'll stay there. I put it there, it'll stay there. But now I'm going to go ahead and put the action back into the stock. It's really pretty simple. I mean, that's what we do at UltiMAK. We want to make things fairly simple for the user. Okay, now I'm just going to eyeball this. We got roughly that gap there. We got this gap on the other side. You want to look front to back. It's not always going to be the same. Depends on the stock maker, how far the action was embedded into that stock. And they do vary. We don't want the mount touching the wood. We want to have a roughly equal space between the mount and the stock on both sides. Maybe that's a little too much gap. Now some people will break out a machinist level, have the action in a vise and try to level this rail with some arbitrary flat surface on the rifle. That is 100% waste of time. Please don't do that. So, let me get this a little tighter. The other thing is, you want to make sure this is fully forward against that barrel band there, which I have done. it may not look it, but if you look down in there, the steel is against the steel. I don't know if you can see that in the camera view, but it is. Now I'm just going to start to snug these up. Now let's see. That looks pretty good to me. And that is pretty much it. I mean, it doesn't hardly get any easier. Sometimes you'll have this forward clamp interfere with the wood in there very slightly. If it's taking some noticeable effort to get the wood back onto the barreled action, and you might have to just touch the wood up a little bit on the inside of this forend where it's cut out for the barrel. But most of the time it won't be an issue. I have seen it where it does touch there a little bit, depending on the stock. Now that's about as tight as I can get it reasonably without really hurting my fingers here. But you know, some people are going to be able to put on a whole lot more torque than others. But the old adage, good and tight, is probably enough. Stick the trigger back in. Should be pretty easy. And it's all ready to go. And that is the end of that. Now you got an excellent optic platform and you're set to go. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. Thank you.